Welcome back, friends, to another WSIB Truth Matters with Joe Machado on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. It's raining a little bit, but you know what? As long as it's not snowing, I'm okay with it. So we're back for the second and last video of the due diligence strategy. It's a strategy that I developed years ago that we used with my company. I taught my paralegals how to use it effectively, and it works. Responsible for over, I'd say about 80% of our cases being settled without having to go to appeals, and a shitload of money in settlements. So I want to show you how it works. I'm going to give you all the tools to use it. When used effectively, in conjunction with the other series that I just finished, you're going to get issues addressed with the WSIB in a timely manner and done in a professional manner, where they're going to be able to, or going to be compelled to provide the essential details that should be provided anytime that the WSIB makes a decision. And I'm going to get into the sort of the structure of what those details look like, because 9 times out of 10, they don't put it in there. So why do I call it a due diligence strategy? So the term due diligence, it's like an investigation or an audit or a review that's performed to confirm facts and details about a situation, which is essentially what the WSIB should do. And every single time that they make a decision, whatever the case may be, whatever it's related to, they should always provide that. And so that you then know what the next step is, or whether or not, based on that information, it makes sense to go to the next step or not. I mean, sometimes when you see it in front of you and you read the decision and it's properly written with all the proper information, proper consideration to the evidence, to the facts, to the medical, and all those things, and the law and stated there and the policies, then it makes it easier for a person to understand, to determine whether or not they're going to go further, and if they are, what are some of the things that they need to address that were mentioned in the decision, so that a more favorable decision could be made. And when you have that kind of information, then you can determine whether or not it's possible to be able to provide the additional information that may swing things in your favor or not. So I call it the due diligence strategy because it's really forcing the WSIB to do what they should be doing already. Now, how does it work? It works with a very small but powerful section of the Workplace Safety and Insurance Act, which is Section 121. And Section 121 of the Act provides the WSIB with the authority to review, consider, revisit any previous decision made by it, revoke or reverse at any time, as long as it is advisable to do so. There isn't a whole lot that is within this policy or within this section of the Act and the policy that the WSIB created to implement and adjudicate this section of the Act. And the policy is 1101.14. So for those of you who want to look it up, I'm going to put the link in the description. And you'll see, I've read thousands of, and reread thousands of WSIB policies over the last 30 years, amendments and whatever. And a lot of them can be very extensive and complicated and somewhat confusing. And sometimes you have to read one in conjunction with another, and then it has all sorts of different factors that are considered and not considered and whatnot. So this one here it's a very short policy, actually, and very straightforward and very simple. I don't know why most people don't use it as often, but I needed to find a way to get very creative to get the WSIB and compel them to make decisions, not just arbitrary decisions based on whatever they pick out of the sky, but well-founded decisions based on law, based on policy, based on the facts. And then, of course, taking into consideration the merit and justice of the case. So, as I stated the policy, I just want to, it reminded me of something. I'm actually starting a bit of a contest, or a giveaway, let's put it that way. So I'm going to draw from the comments, each video, I'm going to draw from the comments 2 people that will be provided with a full 1-year plan in WSIBsettlements.com, which gives them all of the tools and support, all of the kits that we have, tons of value, over $220 in value in that membership. I'm just going to go to the comments. Whoever comments, I'm going to go and pick 2 people at random and basically say, okay, here's the membership. This is what you need to do and get that done. So anyway, back to what I was explaining. So what decisions can be reconsidered? Well, any decision that the board makes. There's no other interpretation or definition. It's very, very simple. And it's stated in the actual reading of the section. I'm going to read it to you. And I'll actually put it up on the screen as well. So Section 121 of the Workplace Safety and Insurance Act. The WSIB may reconsider any decision made by it and may confirm, amend, or revoke the decision. The WSIB may do so at any time if it considers it advisable to do so. So, any decision. Now, the other thing that's important to note is that how far back can they go to reconsider a decision? There's no definition. And I put these to the test. We used this for many years because they had no defense against it. The law is the law. And so, how far back? Well, what does it state? It states at any time. So basically, they can go back 60 years and confirm, amend, revoke a decision. So another important question that you're probably asking yourself is, why does the WSIB have the power to reconsider decisions? Well, I don't know if they really thought this through when they wrote this section of the Act. I'm not going to argue with it because I think it's brilliant. And this is your last line of defense against the WSIB decision-making process that they couldn't take away from you with appeal time limits that were introduced back in 1998 with Bill 99. This is your last level of defense. So what I'm giving you here, what I'm talking about, this is gold if used properly. Why do they have the power to make reconsiderations? Well, because they want to go back and have the ability to amend and reverse and change the decisions that they made that were done, or that in their opinion were done in error. They wanted to have a legal mechanism to go and do that. So, well, this is like a double-edged sword. Because if this reconsideration legislation is going to give you the power to go back and fix your errors, whether or not there's merit to that could be argued, then the worker should have the ability to do that as well and compel you to go and revisit the decision that was previously made. Now, I don't just rely on what they say because I don't trust them. And I don't just rely on what they do because they do one thing today and they can do it tomorrow entirely differently. And I've seen this happen thousands of times. With 10,000 clients, it's not rare that you're going to have two clients with very, very, very similar situations where the same law, the same act applies in their case. And what should be consistent in both cases isn't. And it makes no sense. So, even though that they say that it's important that they make decisions in a consistent basis, and I covered this in my first video, when it comes to decision-making process and what the WSIB has stated in their own literature, what they need to do and how they need to go about it. But yes, you'll end up with two people with almost identical situations and adjudicated differently. And that's another reason why they say that they're not bound by precedent, because they want to give themselves all kinds of ability to maneuver out of their bullshit, their pile of crap. They want to be able to maneuver themselves out of it and give themselves all kinds of ways to do that. But when it's a double-edged sword, it can bite you in the ass. So, I don't trust anything they do or they say, or whether they do one thing today the way I liked it and then they do something different in another time. And I happen to have that happen many times, so I had to point it out to them with this process I'm talking to you about. So I thought, okay, well, you know what? There's got to be a certain amount of consistency here, and I'm going to go to the big kahuna, the ones that have that big stick, right? The huge stick, which is the tribunal. And they're the ones that they can swing that stick and put the board in their place. Appeals officers and managers and directors and the whole lot. I've seen that happen many times. They can school them on their own bullshit and say, hey, no, you can't do that. No. You can't do that this way today, and then tomorrow do something different. Because the law is the law, and the law doesn't massage itself to give you the ability to apply it however you'd like to do that. And that's where the tribunal says, not going to happen. And they create this body of jurisprudence, which is well analyzed decisions with applying the act and its policies in a consistent manner, because they concern themselves with the law, right? They concern themselves with that. They're not beholden to, the WSIB and their budgets and all their schemes to screw the worker out of money. They're not beholden to any of that. And these are lawyers. Lawyers don't like to look stupid. They want to make sure that people look at them and say, hey, this guy, he knows his shit. So when they write a decision, 9 times out of 10, actually 9.5 times out of 10, it's pretty solid. So I always go to them. I always did. I always went to them. Okay, what are they saying about this? It happened with Section 135.4, which became 147.4, where the WSIB was reviewing supplements totally arbitrarily and no regard for the law and all that shit. And the tribunal said, no, you can't do that. Okay, you can't. So you got to stop. And then it caused the WSIB to go and make all kinds of changes, and I was able to successfully argue tons of those to get reinstated. So the tribunal is the place to go. Because I don't like to go up against the WSIB and any one of their people without being totally backed up. Because I don't like to look like an idiot. And when I put them in their place, I want to make sure it sticks. So, what does the tribunal say about the reconsideration, the board's powers of reconsideration? Well, they actually agree with the board, which is what I wanted. Because it's like that double-edged sword that works. You see? I picked out one decision here, and there's lots of them. This one here is decision number, tribunal decision 842-01. And it's regarding a gentleman who had asthma back in 1992. He was awarded an L of 11%. Then he was awarded a FEL award, a Future Economic Loss Award, a full Future Economic Loss Award at the first determination, and then at the R1, which is the first review, 2 years after the initial determination, they confirmed the full FAL award. And then 3 years after that, which is the R2 review, they confirmed the full FAL award again. So this guy he got full benefits, which is rare. And they discovered inadvertently, because of, you got to be careful what you ask for from the WSIB. So that's why I always do calculations. If I'm asking for an increase in earnings basis, I always want to be sure that if I'm going to ask for something for a client, it's not going to put the client in a worse position. But this guy didn't know that, and apparently his representative didn't either, because the route they went down gave the board the actual ammunition to take it all away, which they did. He requested a review of his earnings basis, and through that review, they requested additional information. They found out that he had applied for and received Canada Pension Disability, but didn't report that, which he was required to do. And so they did this review, which was preempted by him, and found that there were inconsistencies in his case, and revoked his entitlement to a permanent impairment. So the NEL got revoked. They only allowed 3 weeks of benefits. That was the tribunal. They didn't entirely take everything away. And that was it. And they created a massive overpayment. But the tribunal said, no, you made a mistake. You can't recover this. Not going to happen. And generally, that's what the tribunal does. And I don't believe that this person was trying to scam the system. But anyway, at the end of the day, what happened was they revoked the permanent impairment. And without a permanent impairment, you can't have a FAL. And so that triggered, everything was revoked. But the WSIB, how did they do that? How did they go back and have the authority to revisit that decision? Well, Section 121. They used that section. And the tribunal, in their decision, commented on the section, and this is what they say. The panel found that a benefit could not be made irrevocable by administrative error. The board was not prevented from revoking initial entitlement under Section 121. So basically they're saying that Section 121, the worker is trying to use that to get a reconsideration of the board's decision, but the board used that same legislation to go back and reverse or revoke. They use both terms. They're pretty much the same. The entire entitlement. So what does that tell you? What it tells you is that the WSIB has the power to reconsider a decision going back so many years, and you also have the power to request that the WSIB reconsider a decision. Now, there's a threshold, obviously, that needs to be met. And so the threshold is, and the tribunal has kind of laid this out, that you need to be able to show that there was new evidence or evidence that existed but wasn't made available at the time of the decision that could swing the decision in a favorable direction. Another one is where a policy or section of the Act was improperly used in that particular case. And I've seen this happen many times, where an adjudicator will write a decision and quote a section that has nothing to do with the law and isn't supported by the law. So when I look at the whole power of reconsideration, now, can you appeal a reconsideration decision made by the board? Yes, you can. Because in the decision that I just previously cited, that's precisely what happened. The worker appealed the board's decision to reconsider and revoke its initial entitlement decision. And he appealed that all the way to the tribunal. So a couple of other important matters that speak directly to the system now that I've put together, that I've used, is who can consider decisions or reconsider decisions. Open the fucking floodgates. Because I'm going to show you something the WSIB does not want you to know. Never did. Under any circumstances. They don't want this. And they know why. And I know why. And you're going to know why. Because it can send a barrage, like mounds of crap in their direction to create tons of work for people who don't want it. They don't want to do it because they're just used to rubber stamping shit. But they don't want this. They don't want you to know this. And what is it? Well, the original decision maker can reconsider his or her decision. That would be the case manager, who makes all of the initial decisions to deny, to accept, whether it be lost time, whether it be a claim, whether it be healthcare benefits, whatever, any and all decisions. Then the decision maker's manager can reconsider a decision. So that means the manager has to do a review. It takes work, takes time to make their decision and their reconsideration. And who else? The manager's manager can reconsider a decision. In this case, it would be the director. You got three levels within within the operations branch. All three of them can reconsider a decision in that order. I've done it tons of times. Now, here's the thing. And I mentioned this in one of my previous videos. How everybody in the executive branch, the manager, the director, the VPs, and everybody under the fucking sun can review a decision. No. They can meddle. They like to go in and meddle. You know? Put their little stamp on it. But the reason why they do that is purely dinero, financial. They want to make sure that a case manager isn't paying out too much money. Never mind the fact that that person's doing their job and they're looking at entitlement regardless of what it's going to cost, because that's the way it should be looked at. It's not like, I'm going to give you entitlement because, hey, you only earn $20 an hour and it's not a whole lot. We'll do that. And then another person that earns, $30 an hour, no, I'm not going to give you entitlement now because you earn too much money. No, that's not the way it works. But these people like to meddle. They like to meddle in there, get their fingers in there, and then the adjudicator or the case manager is the one that has to deal with the backlash of an injured worker or a representative or whomever and say, what the hell? Your decision doesn't make any sense. Or, hey, you agreed with this, and why are you reversing that now? Many times it's happened. But they meddle not because of wanting to dot the I's and cross the T's, as they say. Make sure that all the facts are considered and circumstances. The policies are being applied properly. Policy or policies, if it's more than one policy that applies in that case. And that it's legal, that it's within the law, within the Workers' Compensation Act or the Workplace Safety and Insurance Act. That's what they should be doing. But no. So, I was really ecstatic when I put all of this together and I started nailing these guys because you know what? The meddlers always like to meddle, but they never like to sign their name to a piece of paper and acknowledge what they were doing. Because they're cowards. If you made a decision, you stand by it. Sign it. Own it. Cowards don't do that. They meddle in the background and then they leave it for somebody else to take this shit. So, you know what? The policy also states in a nice little section titled Communicating Decisions. And here's what it states. If a decision maker confirms, amends, or reverses a previous decision, a letter is sent to the relevant workplace parties stating the decision, explaining the rationale, including any applicable legislation and policy, outlining the information used to make the decision. So in other words, the facts, the circumstances, all of that stuff they like to omit or only put a little bit in there, and the person's left to wonder. And advising both parties of their right to object. You see, I just told you. Can you appeal a reconsidered decision? Yes, you can, because they have to put all of that information in their decision, in their reconsideration decision. And a manager or a director cannot refuse to reconsider a decision. They can't refuse. It's not within their purview. They have to reconsider it. They have to put all of this stuff on there in their decision. Because they tried that with me and I sent it back. That's not going to work with me. You didn't put this and this and this. So go back to the fucking file and to the drawing board and get your information, get your shit together and state it, all of it. And then I'll decide what I'm going to do with it, whether I'm going to go to an appeal with it or whether I'm going to go to your supervisor with it. But until then, we got a problem. Because you got to follow the law. It's your law. You're the one that wrote it. You're the one that's authorized and compelled to apply it. And I did that a few times. And you know what? After that, they complied. Because they knew that I'd be back on the phone or in a letter, which is then there for everybody to see. And I tell them, get your shit together. Because this isn't going to work. And they did. You want to make a decision, you want to meddle in a claim and try to make somebody else look stupid, like one of your subordinates who may actually be trying to do the right thing, put your signature on it. so that everybody can see. And if it goes to appeals, the appeals officer can see it. And if it goes to the tribunal, they can see it as well. And they can see how much of a schmuck you are. But no hiding. Don't hide behind it. So, my system, WSIBsettlements.com, all 3 kits are drafted, ready to go. It takes you less than 3 minutes to get your kit worded with the proper terminology, addressed, and each level it's worded differently. And yes, it compels the decision maker to provide all of that information. It's there. Initial decision maker, the manager, the director. That easy, that simple. You don't need to go in. You don't have to go to a paralegal or a lawyer or anybody else. You don't have to do any of that. All that work's been done, and it works because I used it. I created it, and I used it tons of times. And it is your last line of defense against these people that want to squeeze you for every last little bit that you may be entitled to receive. And it gives me great pleasure to share this with you, because they need to be put in their place. They have been pissing around with injured workers and their families for way too long and getting away with it. We need to bring that to an end. If you have any questions about any of this, send me an email, watch the video. I'm here to help and to guide you. And as I always say, I'm not going to feed you a line of bullshit. I'm going to feed you what works, because I know it does. So this next this next video, it's not a series because it's just one video. I'm going to reveal what I believe to be the main reason the WSIB came after me. Put my staff out of work. Placed my clients, thousands of them, in a vulnerable situation that I had to scramble to help and fix. Ruined my credibility and cost me millions of dollars in revenue. They did that. Almost 6 years ago. Did they succeed? Why do I make them so nervous? Time will tell. Time will tell. Because they know I know all of their dirty little secrets. And this one here, this strategy here, the due diligence strategy, open the floodgates. Because now it's time to stick it to you. I was just going to say something really, really bad. I get away with the occasional F-U there because sometimes it's the only word that really emphasizes a particular sentiment. But anyway, you know what I mean. So on Monday, I'm coming out with a video. This is a very special one. You see, I'm going to show you, if you have a pension, a pre-1990 pension like I have, I'm going to show you how to go and get it reassessed. And so I was thinking, they gave me 22% back in 86 when I had my injury. I didn't know, was that enough? I mean, I was a punk. I didn't know shit at the time. I've since had them increase it to, I think it's 31%. And it's been about 10 years, maybe more. But you know what? It's time. It's time for me to get them reassessed again. Because you know what? I'm going to go after every single dime that I'm entitled to. I make no bones about it. And so I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to do a video, and you're going to see my whole process. And then I'm going to do follow-up videos. Because the WSIB and I, we're going to do a bit of a dance. We've done this dance before. Trust me. A little dance. Somebody's going to say, no, we don't believe it, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. Next. I don't know how many of them it's going to take to say no before they say yes. And you know what? They may say yes right off the bat because they just don't want to deal with me. I don't know. They don't have to deal with me as a representative. But they have to deal with me as an injured worker. Oh boy. Somebody's going to be really nervous because they have to. That's the law. So it'll be interesting. If you want to go for your pension reassessment and you have a pre-1990 pension, watch that video. It's simple. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get my kit because I'm a member of WSIBsettlements.com as well. I'm gonna get my kit. I'm gonna prepare it, and I'm gonna upload it right to the WSIB, and it's all gonna be done in under 5 minutes, like literally, and it'll be there. Boom, for somebody to open that file. My case manager, I don't know who the hell that is. And then run to the washroom and have a big dump because they're going to be nervous. But that's what I'm doing on Monday. And between Monday and Thursday, when I get into this other one that I was just telling you about, there's going to be other stuff. I'm going to do my Wednesday Q&A and other stuff. So look out for the shorts because that's where I give you a little bit of a teaser as to what I'm going to be talking about next. I'm going to be talking for the next 10 years. I got tons of content, and I'm going to share with you people all the stuff that works, all my experience, the things that work, and so you can be empowered to deal with these people and get everything you're entitled to. That's my commitment to you. So hit that subscribe button. If you haven't already done it, please do. If you're watching my videos and you're not a subscriber, the least you could do is just hit that subscribe button. Excuse me, because it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. But I'm a YouTube channel, so the algorithm, the more subscribers and the more views, helps to grow the channel. And the more the channel grows, obviously, the more videos I can do. And although I'm going to do videos whether or not, regardless of whether the channel grows, I'm still going to keep doing them. Because this information is useful. You need it. And share it. Please share it with others. You may think that somebody doesn't need your help, and they may be embarrassed to tell you the situation that they're in, and you can send them a lifeline without even knowing. Just share the videos and have them decide for themselves. Okay? And that helps me too. And thumbs up. If you like what I'm doing, if you like my content, give me a thumbs up. If you don't, send me a comment. Let me know what you want me to talk about. And if it makes sense, and there's substance that makes sense as far as how to handle a case, I'll put it into one of my videos. I will. Okay? So, and again, if you have any questions, just email me. Joe Machado at WSIBsettlements.com. And I'll help you out as best as I can. And don't forget the contest. 2 memberships, 2 full memberships for 1 year, WSIBsettlements.com. All you got to do is comment on the video. Every video I do, I'm going to go through the comments. I'm going to pick 2 people and give out 2 memberships. Every single video. All right. So friends, thanks again for putting up with me. Have an amazing weekend. And watch out for that video on Monday. Take care.